Every year, thousands of schools and nurseries lose their best people. Not because those people stopped caring, possibly because they cared so much and for so long, with so little left in the tank that something had to give. And here's the sad reality: the very thing causing that loss is the thing that keeps repeating, week after week, term after term. Today, I want to show you the loop, and then I want to give you 3 ways out of it. 30 years ago, I walked into my first classroom and I loved it, all of it. The chaos, the noise, the small breakthroughs nobody else would ever see. But by year 28, 29, I was a deputy head and I was running on empty. I wasn't tired in the good way, the way you feel after a really good day at work. I was tired in the way where you wake up already exhausted. I was snapping at people I loved. I couldn't remember the last time I felt that I was me when I was at work or at home. I didn't get there because I was weak. I got there because the system I was working in had a loop running underneath it that nobody had ever pointed out to me. And once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Here's how the loop works. A school or nursery is short staffed, short of resources, finance. Maybe it's always been that way. Maybe it's new. Either way, there aren't enough hands. So the people who are there absorb the gap. We do that, don't we? A bit more cover here, a little bit of extra duty there, maybe an overtime. Nothing dramatic on any single day, but it adds up. And slowly exhaustion builds. Not the tiredness of a good, hard day, but the grinding kind where you've got nothing left to give. Nothing left to give the people who need you. And when people reach that point, they leave. Sometimes loudly, but more often quietly. Perhaps they go part-time, perhaps they move to supply. Sometimes they don't stay past their first year. And when they go, they take something with them that's almost impossible to replace quickly. And that's the knowledge of how to calm a particular child, how to hold a relationship with a difficult parent, or perhaps how to keep the whole thing running without anyone noticing the effort it takes. So the gap gets bigger, and the staff who are left absorb it, and the loop starts again, a little worse than before. Does that sound similar at all to you? But this is what I really want you to hear today. This isn't a staffing problem you can fix with a job advert. It's a loop. And loops don't get broken by working harder inside them. They get broken by interrupting them somewhere on purpose. So let's talk about where. I'm going to suggest you name it before you numb it. Most of us push through burnout in silence because naming it feels like admitting weakness, but it isn't. The moment you say out loud to one trusted person, "I think I'm running on empty," you interrupt the loop right there. You can't fix what you won't name. It's as simple as that. The second way is to build one 2-minute connection every single day. So I'm not talking about going to a staff meeting or another wellbeing initiative that, frankly, we don't really have time for. Just 2 minutes, asking a colleague genuinely, "How are you?" Really? Because the teams who absorb pressure without cracking are the teams who notice each other, who value each other, one person at a time. And the third one is today, every day, take 5 minutes for you. Before the emails, before the queue at the door, 5 minutes. Where you're not managing anyone else's morning, you're settling into your own. It might sound too small to matter, but it isn't. Because the version of you who takes those 5 minutes shows up steadier. Steadier for everyone else's next 8 hours. Steadier for yourself. None of these 3 things require a budget. They don't require a policy change or permission. That's the point. You can start today, even if you're on holiday. I wish someone had told me all of this information when I was perhaps 15 years into teaching, not at the end of my teaching. I wish I'd noticed that the exhaustion I was carrying wasn't a personal failure, but it was a loop, and loops can be interrupted. That's why I do what I do now. Not to add another thing to your plate, but to help you and your team find your way back to actually loving this work again, not just surviving it. If this loop is one that perhaps you recognize in your staff room, in your setting, I'd love to know. Drop a comment and tell me where you see it happening. What does it look like for you? And if you want a 5-minute daily anchor, you could try my journal or a 5-minute weekly anchor with your staff. Try my course. Share this with someone who might need it and take care of yourself.